one of my absolute favorite poets in the whole Philly scene. I have known Steve since sometime in the early, yeah, exactly. So at some point after we realized that Y2K was not really a big deal, something like that, I've hosted readings in like Bryn Mawr with Steve, and Steve goes everywhere. Steve is like this wonderful champion of poetry, and goes like all over. He just gets everywhere. Some people sort of stick to their little corner. Steve goes everywhere. And he has always been just this great poet, like he cuts straight to sort of the heart of a thing. It's like just talking to anybody, except he's saying thoughtful, philosophical things. He could he can just as easily be talking about Cecily Tynan or the president or a piece of art or just someone on the street. And that's what I love about Steve and what I love about his poetry. A couple of years ago, he started putting together these poems that were all alliterative poems working with one letter of the alphabet. And so a whole poem based on A and B. And it's like one of those things where you look at that like, yeah, that's really cute at first, but how are you going to pull that off? And I'll be damned, he did, right? And so that's what this is. This is his book, The Alphabet Concerto. Steve asked me to write the little blurby thing on his book. So it's not like a secret that I love this man and his poetry. But and I just have to say this. I'm going to read the little bit that's right on the front, because I really do. Like, I wrote, if alliteration were an Olympic sport, this book would take the gold, because he just does stuff with alliteration that I'm like, how did he do that? Like, if I try to alliterate for more than like one line, I sound stupid. I get that one line and I'm like, that's good, I better back off. And he does it line after line, poem after poem, and I am frequently just sort of like, a lot of you know him, and those of you that don't will feel like you know him by the time he's done, because that's the kind of guy that Steve is. So come on up, Steve.
Okay.
Thank you, Autumn. Pressure's on after that intro. I'm going to start off with a poem called Convoluted Biography. And this came out of my Upper Moreland Writers Group with Alan and Lila. The assignment was we had to write a false biography, but use one piece of truth and your name. I did not have a normal birth. That set the tone for the rest of my life. I was born in the back of a Greyhound bus that had broken down on a dark country road in the middle of a place called Chaos Woods. My mother went into labor much earlier than expected. The bus driver who delivered me was named Stephen, thus my given name. At age 5, I was kidnapped by a radical religious group who worshiped porcupines. But after 3 days, I escaped. It was then that 4 became my lucky number. In fact, I became obsessed with the number, doing things in increments of 4. My high school years were strange as well. I punched a teacher, then I had to go back and punch him 3 more times because of my obsession. I took on a series of random jobs, doing everything from a Chippendale stripper to painting tops of bridges. I made love in a subway, 4 times, of course. Let me clarify this, 4 separate occasions. Hey, I'm not that good. As I mellowed as I got older, devoted my life to fixing toasters and practicing transcendental meditation. Although I posted my mantra on Twitter, I am currently running a campaign to get Pat Boone into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This one's called Emotional Violence. You don't call 911. You don't scream for help. You suck it up like juice from a snow cone till you're left with nothing but ice. You don't bring real tears on stage. You hide them. Leave them in the dressing room, keeping company with a slow drip from the sink. There is no reason for a doctor visit, no visible cuts or bruises. No one has to know that someone has kicked the shit out of your soul. There is no protection from emotional violence, no preventive maintenance, no preventive medicine, no guide manual, just a forced smile on a false face. This is short, it's called toe tag. Toe tag that dream. Let the mortician do his thing, put it to rest. Allow the memory to take its rightful place. It's lived a full life, rewarded. Close that chapter. Better to mourn than to let a dying dream keep on suffering. For those that know me, you know that I'm a real music nut, and I have thousands of CDs. They're all around the walls of my apartment. And one day I couldn't decide what to play, and I got a poem out of it. This is called CD Bickering. "Play me," the REM CD shouted. No, play me," said the Doors' debut album. Suddenly, from all corners of the room, CDs were screaming to be played, even the songs of Leonard Cohen, and he never screams. "I won Grammy Awards," boasted Bridge Over Troubled Waters. "I guided you through psychedelics," said In Search of the Lost Chord. "You like train songs," growled Johnny Cash in his Orange Blossom special. "But every day you have the blues," reasoned B.B. King. "Baby, what you want me to do?" enticed Etta. "I am 2 CDs. Do the bloody math," said the White Album. All the while, the CD player grew impatient, muttering to itself, "Jesus, pick something already." I started to reach for Highway 61 Revisited, but then my mind got David Bowie. Changes. But even before Bowie was finished, I heard the Drifters in the distance. "Save the last dance for me." I want to get into the book a little bit, but before I do, this is a poem that should have gone in the book, and I accidentally sent the wrong poem in the manuscript, but I thought I'd do this one since it's not in the book. It's called Nightlife. Night is a nonconformist today, with neckties draped across chairs, necklaces strewn on night tables. Nocturnal teenagers defy nagging parents, sneak nimbly outside in the dark, damp air. Couples in nightgowns share a nightcap, snuggle neath the nightlight, reading narratives of Nostradamus before surrendering to the naughty. Children lost in nightmares of nasty, nefarious, nameless monsters. Outside nature's nirvana for nightingales, nighthawks, hooting night owls, nimble above nightshades. A state of narcosis neutralizes consciousness as the previous day slips into nostalgia.